illness, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because there's sick people in the Bible that never got healing. Um, Paul talked about the thorn in his side, and we don't know if that was like a person, if that was an illness, but that the statement applies to us: God's grace is sufficient. And I've heard a lot of people being told, you just need to have more faith, when it's an unfortunate, from our perspective, reality that it's not God's will to heal everyone in this life. I never got to see my dad get healed in this life, but I know he is now. And that's going to affect everyone's faith differently. But for me, it strengthened my faith to know that he's healed. And when it comes to mental illness, it's just the same, because I've fought with anxiety since I was 12 and depression since I was 8 years old. And I spent from like the first half of my teens, well, probably up until I was like 18, almost daily I was having panic attacks. And I remember being told, because I was afraid, God tells me not to be afraid, but what if I am chronically afraid because of the panic attacks? I was told, you need to chronically work on it then. And I think there's a big difference that people are not seeing. There's a distinction that people are not making. And that distinction is between feeling and action. There's a big difference between I feel anxious and I'm going to listen to this anxiety and stay in my room, in my bed, and literally never leave. Because that's what I did for years, and I developed agoraphobia, the fear of leaving the house. And I developed a fear of eating, because I was afraid if I ate, then I would start feeling sick, so I just didn't eat. But in all of this, I asked, what could be the purpose of this? What good could come from this? Am I dropping frames? Yes, I am dropping frames. I'm dropping a lot of frames. I don't know why. But I kept asking God, what good could come from this? And it was literally in some of my hardest, darkest moments that I eventually realized, maybe my purpose is to help others through this. And I'm not quite ready to go into my full testimony yet as to how I came to that conclusion, but You know, I've always wanted to help out. Oh my goodness, I've never heard that sound before. A fox eating berries. I thought that like someone was coming up to eat me. That's a weird sound. Anyway, um, no honey's out there somewhere. I'm like out in the middle of a forest. I was getting some spruce. Anyway, okay, I see you on the tracker now. But it's easy to dismiss feelings that you've never had. Um, I used to be big into the political scene, and there's people that I even like attended the rallies of that I stopped supporting because they tend to talk about depression and like various fatiguing disorders as simply you need to go out there and get some sun, touch some grass, like make something of your life. And you know, it's really not that easy because there are people like me with, you know, 1 in a million diseases that make it a lot harder than just going out and touching grass. One of my family members, I'm not going to say who, suffers from a type of chronic fatigue that if you like start pushing yourself, instead of gaining stamina, you're slowly wearing down your body and you don't gain that stamina back. And that's a scary, scary thing. And that person has said that they're kind of afraid that that might be what I have, and I don't know that yet. I don't know what I have just yet. But I do pray it's not that. One of my conditions is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, EDS, which means my joints are just a suggestion. Sometimes they bend backwards because they want to. Sometimes they fall out of joint. And that also makes it so that it's almost impossible for me to gain stamina. I have less stamina now than I did in middle school. Like if I go for a run, I might be able to run like 10 seconds. And then it's going to take me 2 days to recover from that. Why did I think we didn't have spruce wood? Oh no, it's crimson wood that we don't have. Okay, that's what I need to be looking for. Anyway. I'm distracted. This is all kind of scattered, but I really want to stress the importance of you can be sick and still be saved. I know that almost everyone that I talk to has had stories of how their emotional health and like emotional illness was not treated well in the church. And, you know, for better or worse, Christians do not represent Christ. And Christ will not turn you away because of your emotional illness. And he's not going to condemn you because of your sickness. I know that we had a crimson forest around here somewhere. I think it's important that when we deal with people that have various disabilities like that, we treat them especially as people, of course, but we don't change how we look at them because of their illness. In that, you know, I don't want to be babied because of my health. I still want to be able to, you know, go out there and have a family and support my family. And if someone is depressed, you know, you check on them and you know, ask them how they're doing. But don't make every interaction with them about their depression. And that it's a balancing act because no shelves. Bookshelves. Because you don't want to under care for them, and you don't want to over care for them. And so, just like with physical illness, just ask them, you know, what you can do to make them comfortable. I apologize for how scattered this is. I've had one of those, like, 2004 car stereo headaches, where every sound just rattles. And that includes talking. Speaking of health stuff, I will not be streaming this Monday. I've got a dental appointment because of a tooth that is angry at me. It might help if I grab, like, the mushroom saplings. These are so annoying to try to grow. because this stuff, this Nylium, does not like regrow over netherrack. But I'm pretty sure the crimson fungus, yeah, it can't be planted on netherrack. So you're limited as to where you can plant them. Oh, that's fun. I love falling into giant holes. I think the church needs to do a better job in taking care of those with health problems. Hello, Frank. I wonder if, wonder how far along this Guardian farm is going. Especially those on, like, disability. You know, there have been times that my family, for lack of income, was unable to, what the heck? My family was unable to, like, get the car payment in on time, and my church, like, found out about this and pitched in to help us. And I'm not saying, like, oh, churches need to financially support their members, but we need to focus on community a lot more. And focusing on community means, yeah, sometimes it does mean pitching in, but it also means, you know, if you have a mechanic in the congregation, you know, maybe that person can help out. I guess he's not finished with this. I thought he was. It looks weird. Interesting. For mental health, we definitely need to stop saying that everything is demons and saying that nothing is demons. Because, well, I don't believe that demons can possess Christians, as the Bible says that the devil and our adversaries were disarmed at the cross. That doesn't mean they can't yeah, if you're on mobile, the screen will freeze for some reason. I don't understand that. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, the devil and our adversaries were disarmed at the cross. So I don't believe that Christians can be possessed like you see in, you know, exorcism movies. But, you know, they can still whisper things to us. and they can still, remind you of your past, or tell you that because you're sick you're not good enough, or that it is just because of your lack of faith that you're sick. And that's not the truth, and the church needs to be ready to say that. We need to be ready to tell people just because you're sick doesn't mean there's something spiritually wrong with you. Hello. Well, thankfully I'm right here to fix the bridge too. Exploring around. I definitely have not seen this base before. Oh, it might be L's. Yeah, this is L's base. One of the most infuriating church instances that has ever happened to my family was a local pastor telling my mother that, it's been 3 months since her children's father passed away. They're not mourning, they're demon possessed. And also, we need to get rid of his multi-thousand-dollar collection of magic cards, because that's what's attaching the possession on the younger kids. And there is absolutely nothing biblical about that. Just to imply that, it has to be demonic if there's anything like mental, emotional going on. I can't work just be done. Yeah, that would be nice. I'll tell you another thing you don't do. You don't, you don't start telling people, when I was your age, I was able to do this and that, and, have you ever considered maybe you're just lazy? Because that's the voice of my oldest brother in my head. And that's something I've contended with, and finally I feel like justified. Yeah, it's not that I'm lazy, it's that there's something in my body that's not supposed to be there. I don't know anything about sterols, Sterols, but that's what's in my body that it's not processing. If I'm understanding what I read correctly. Why does it take a really horrific diagnosis for your family finally shut up about the really awful opinions. Honestly, I don't know. I don't even know that he's going to know that I have been diagnosed, because I I don't feel comfortable talking to him with how he's treated other members of my family. Um, and it's ironic because my father was sicker than I am, and oh, here's some like crimson, like scarlet wood. Yeah, I found some. I remembered where it is. Um, yeah, I don't know that he's going to know about my diagnosis because, I can justify myself to the voice in my head, but I have no basis to justify myself before him. He doesn't have to mean that to me. Like, no disrespect, no offense, but I don't want to have to justify myself. But yeah, my dad was sicker than I am, and my grandpa would treat my dad the same way that his son-in-law, the same way that my oldest brother treats me. And I pointed that out to him, and he surprisingly like doubled down. So yeah, I'm just kind of done with that whole side of things. Oh yeah, that's wood that you get from the Nether. Let me see. I know there's also an orange wood that we don't have. But I think I know where some is. Honestly, yes, cut them out. We don't keep others in our lives. They're not good for us. We can pray for them, but also keep them separate until they are able to see that they're wrong in how they treat others. Yes, I agree. Um, and that's what we've been doing. Because I told him about our mom. Oh goodness, what happened? Do you need help? Okay. I told him about our mom getting on disability because Daisy, our foxhound, which looks like a gigantic beagle, decided she was going to sleep in mom's bed, get up against the wall, and stretch in the middle of the night and push mom off the bed. And she fell and broke her hip and was in a fibromyalgia flare-up for many months. And when I told him about that, he really had no reaction, just didn't care. So, on a different note, though, I feel kind of like my dad did. Don't remember exactly when it was, but it was before I was 6, because we moved when I was 6, and this happened where I used to live. my dad had been experiencing some sort of chronic pain for many years. Never could figure out why. And when a doctor diagnosed him with something that I can't even begin to pronounce, some sort of neuropathy, the doctor was confused on why my family like celebrated that. But it's finally putting a name to what has just been a nameless pain for so long. Oh goodness, I've never seen this house before. Wonder who lived there. Yeah, here's the acacia biome. And that's kind of how I feel now. Like, this is... even if... whether or not there's a cure, there's now a name to it. And now I can tell people more than I'm just tired, or I get the flu too often. And, you know, it might be something that I can help myself out a lot with diet and exercise. I know that if the... I don't know what to call it. Like the sterile staying in your body, I know if that is not treated, it can be life-threatening. And so I'm not exaggerating when I say that this test that they did very well could have elongated or saved my life. And I am really, really hoping to get that call back soon, because I want to know what to do next. How do I treat this? I don't think I have any, like, immediately deadly problems. There were 3 different anomalies, I guess, that they found. And that was one of the 3. I couldn't figure out anything about the other 2, because the words just did not make sense to me. Like, man, the medical field, they love their long words. And, you know, my thing is music. My thing is not genomes. I need layman's terms, please. You know, something else I remembered. Because of, like, oh, my body doesn't know how to process this. If you know anyone on dialysis, and they're a fruit bat, so to speak, make sure they do not consume starfruit. Because apparently if you're on dialysis, there's a neurotoxin in starfruit that your kidneys can process, but dialysis cannot. So, consuming any amount of starfruit on dialysis will kill someone. That's thankfully something that we did not figure out the hard way. It's just one of those things that popped up on Facebook, and we fact-checked it, and yeah, that's apparently true. Rare Facebook fact. How cool would it be if, like, one of these tunnels was, like, one block off? The last SMP that I was a part of, I kept accidentally building buildings that were, you know, one block to the left of where they're supposed to be, or building a 2-wide tunnel into a 3-wide entrance. I've considered making a house with no other purpose than to do a strange building technique just to mess with like perspective on using oak wood, because like if I look at this wood here, all of the planks are aligned east to west, but if this was oak and I replaced one of these with a lectern, I can make one block of planks go south to north. So there would just be one, appears to be plank block sideways. This is looking nice. All these villagers are like trained in on something. Oh, I see what they're looking at. They're looking through the wall. And they're looking at these compost bins. They're up there just staring down. And I found these. Orange wood. So the big thing that I wanted to basically say over the course of this stream is take care of yourself and learn how to take care of each other too, because we need to do our best job in representing Christ, especially to those who are hurting. I put acacia in the wrong one. It's dark oak. I've got all but one of the types of trees, and I know where the last one is. I think I'll go for another 10 minutes or so. Make an hour stream. because my voice is definitely going out. Which I wonder if there's anything in the genetic tests that will explain that, because I've always had that problem where if I talk too much, I get this gravelly pain in my, I don't know, it's not my heart, but it's around there. Like above my lungs, in my throat. And I figured it was just because of having a gravelly voice, but don't know. You know, in that regard, I can definitely like understand Honey's pain with not being able to talk very much sometimes. Because sometimes it starts to hurt after an hour or so, sometimes it starts to hurt after like 10 minutes, and it really depends on how I'm feeling otherwise. And with me being sick right now, you know, it feels like there's battery acid being poured down my throat. Yeah, easily tired. And it's interesting. The original reason that we wanted the genetic test was to see why I'm catching the flu so much. Because July of 2024, I caught it. I got like an ear infection in June. And then in July, I got a double ear infection plus COVID plus the flu. And then I've caught the flu like every 2 months since then. 7 times in 13 months. And my doctor's like, that's definitely not normal. Let's get you to an allergist who apparently does immune testing now. But now we're wanting to see not only immune system stuff, but this chronic fatigue. Because there's some days that I legitimately cannot walk more than, you know, just to the bathroom and back. And it takes me 10 minutes to prepare to get up to go one room over and tell my mom I'm not feeling well. I've collected the final tree. I have dark oak. I want to do a video at some point where I talk about my expanded testimony. I want to do one where I talk about Dr. Horror stories. You know, like me being told that my feet going numb when I'm standing for too long is just my anxiety. But I want to save that for an individual video where I can say, hey, I've had good experiences since then. Hello, daughter of Zion. I had a dream with you the other night. I don't know why. Like, I've never even like seen you, but like there was someone in my dreams that I knew was you. And we were in church and you gave me a banana, and that was all I remember. Yeah, I have weird dreams, and I'm legitimately considering like making a VTuber character that is based around dreams because I dream of people so much. And like I was telling you, my like, oh, thank you for the banana. I don't like them, but I'll give it to my brother, which is accurate. I'm like the only person in my house that doesn't like bananas, including my dogs. I have a I have a min pin pug mix. She looks like a little black loaf of bread with toothpick legs. And if you've ever seen a dog that is so obsessed with a certain food that it makes them vibrate, that's Navi with bananas. It is now my goal to give you a banana at Reach. I wish I could go to Reach, but um, I'm currently actively being tested for immune disorders, and it is not advisable right now for me to be around big crowds, especially given my chronic fatigue. Like, I've needed uh, a wheelchair to go around Walmart recently. However, uh, I I'll continue that thought in DMs if you don't mind. Um, I always want to ask permission before I DM a woman. Um, but yeah, I I do like apples though. I love apples. Um, Growing up, my favorite was Granny Smith because I love sour stuff. But now my favorite is um, Red Delicious because I'm old and boring. Hello. I can I can get this what layer do you want the grass to be at? Like these? You're like trying to get grass up here, or are you just using the dirt to place them? Oh, okay. Because if you want grass for any like aerial uh what's it called? Like flower areas. I have Silk Touch, so I can pick up grass and move it without it turning into dirt. Oh yeah, the last thing I want is to make people uncomfortable, so I always try to ask before DMing. But yeah, I've spent most of the stream talking about my health stuff. And we may have found what my health problem is. And if I'm correct in my research, it's literally something that is like 1 in 2.6 million people have it. So Always gotta test the odds and push them. And it could be egged on by me constantly eating peanut butter. So if I can't eat peanut butter anymore, don't know what I'm gonna do, but you know, I trust God will have me. Yeah, there's something in peanuts, um, various fish, avocados, uh, seeds, seed oils. It's called sterols, and my body does not know how to process them. And so they just sit in my body. Yeah, let me had a copy paste of. Oh, I haven't been keeping up with the text chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I was dropping frames earlier. Um, I had it written down right here. Okay, just posted it in chat. That is what is listed. Well, one of the 3 things that is listed. I don't understand half the words that are on my report, which is why I called my allergist this morning and left a message saying, hey, I need to know what to do next. But right now, I am probably going to end stream in the next few minutes because I have what I believe to be a sinus infection, and it is a consistent burning pain to talk right now. Need medical jargon. Oh, I hear thing. I think Hubby Highland. Oh? That might have been Honey that unmuted. All I heard was like a buzzing warble. That was a super strange sound. It definitely wasn't in game. I'm gonna clip that. I'll create the clip when I'm done. Yeah, so I think I'm going to end the stream here. I've talked a lot about various health things, and I hope that the church begins to take health more seriously, because you know, you're given this body to take care of, and you're also given other members of your community to, you know, they're not your responsibility, but we are called to help each other. And sometimes that means just being there for them and listening to them ramble a bit. You may absolutely share this prayer request. I'm almost in tears with joy of finally I might have an answer to what this is. Because I've been dealing with catching the flu 7 times in a year. I've been dealing with fatigue so bad that I can't even walk around Walmart anymore. Which that is my comfort thing. Um, if I need some mental clarity, I need a place where I can just like think. I go to Walmart. I It's always been a thing that I can process things better, going on a little road trip. And if I can't do that for physical reasons, that's frustrating. But I'm not going to get down about that because I know that God can handle it. And I know that even if that's not an option anymore, which it still could be an option, I don't know yet. Even if that's not an option anymore, I know that He still has me. And I know that He still has you. And you all are in my prayers as well. I hope you all remember to take care of yourselves, stay hydrated, and remember that by the blood of Christ you are worthy. I will see you around.